think life is largely about balances. Balancing your fears against your hopes and dreams. My biggest fear, and it's kind of trivial when I say it out loud, but I think it's a good fear to have if it's your only one. Because some people might fear death or disease or pain or, you know, very real sort of things that you can't actually avoid in the end, or even in the middle or at the beginning. My big fear is heights. For some reason, heights just make me queasy. Even if I'm watching a film and there's somebody sort of at the top of a building, especially if the camera's above, you know, like crane above, looking down on the person, and then you can see the whole, it's making me shiver right now. There's just something about heights. Makes me kind of quiver inside. But that's my one fear. I don't really have anything else. I'm not too keen on water either. I never learned to swim. I think it's a restriction. It takes away some of your freedom because you can only move to a certain level. You can't move very fast in water. So I think the fact that it slows you down somehow, to me, that sends warning signals to me, as if like this is not a good thing. You need to get out of the water so you can move freely, so you can run if the monsters come, you know. And not that I'm afraid of monsters. So yeah, so heights is my thing, and so there's that. But that's a great, like I say, that's a great fear to have, because you can stay away from heights. You know, just keep your feet on the ground, you'll be all right. You know, don't go up any ladders. Don't get a job cleaning windows. You know, don't become a pilot. You know, it's going to avoid that. It is kind of avoidable. You know, if you went all through whatever piloting school is, did all the simulators and stuff, you got your qualification, you got your nice uniform. First day on the job, you get in the seat and like, oh shit, we're going to go in the sky. So that's why I never became a pilot. Against that, conversely to that, what I love more than anything is my kids, and that's nothing new, you know, that's nothing revelatory, you know, it's not going to make the papers, is it? Man loves kids. Actually, that might make the paper, depending on what it actually means. Father loves his kids would not make the headlines particularly. And like I say, life is about balancing the two. So you've got to make your priorities in a way. Like if my two kids were up high, like dangling off the edge of a building, and it was up to me to go up there, face my worst fear, to save my two beautiful, fantastic, amazing children who mean more to me than anything, you know, then obviously, fuck them. They're old enough to look after themselves now. You know, what are they doing up there in the first place? That's, you know, idiots. I'm in a position now where I'm the only parent, so it is kind of down to me. You know, I have to, because before I was the cool dad. They lived with their mum, and I was the cool dad who came to see them at weekends, brought them presents, took them to the cinema, took them swimming, went to McDonald's, did all that kind of cool stuff, and then took them home, and I went on my merry way, the mysterious cool dad who then went on and led a mysterious life as a secret agent. But now I'm having to deal with like dentists and fucking school and all that shite. The main advantage I have is that me and my kids have always got on. They're very similar to me in sort of sense of humour and sentiment and sensibilities and intelligence. You know, we're kind of on the same sort of page. They both have a sense of humour, but they're quite different. My son's sense of humour is he's very like funny bones. He's just naturally a clown. And whereas my daughter's a bit more kind of cerebral in that sense. Not that she's smarter than him, because they have different levels of smarts. Holly's creative like me, and I think that takes a certain type of intelligence. Whereas Isaac's more academic. You know, he grasps things easily, and he does very well at school, which is more like his mum. I didn't do particularly well at school because I was too busy trying to be creative. School is kind of getting in the way of all that. I see some other parents, and there's two of them, struggling. Maybe that's the problem. You know, maybe it takes like a dictatorship. You know, Terry Gilliam once said that films don't work by committee. You can't make a film with a committee. There has to be one leading voice to control it all in order to make the cogs go. You know, it doesn't seem to work any other way. And okay, there are exceptions like the Wachowski brothers, siblings, sisters, whatever the fuck they are now. Or what are they going to be next? Uncles. So I get to just make the decisions without having to discuss or compromise with anyone. The only people I have to compromise with are my kids. But because I'm kind of the man in charge, and I don't lord it over them, because the important thing is that they have freedom. That's the important thing to me. When I was growing up, and I I was different to all my siblings. You know, I had 3 sisters and a brother, and they were quite, I don't say ordinary, because that makes them sound boring or less somehow, but they pursued more ordinary lives. Whereas I wanted to be a filmmaker and an actor, and I was a writer, and you know, I was doing all that kind of stuff. And my parents never tried to dissuade me from that. They didn't interfere in any way, you know, in either way. They didn't hold my hand and try to walk me through it, probably because they didn't know how it worked, just like I didn't. But neither did they at any point ever try and stop me or dissuade me or think, you say, well, maybe you should study something and get a proper job. You know, it was never like that. They always kind of seemed to trust that I knew where I was going, that I knew what I was doing, and let me get on with it. And I always, looking back, appreciate that in a way that I think it's one of the things that makes me confident and happy about who I am now, because I didn't have any bad experiences as a kid. I had a brother and sisters who were great, who were all older than me, so I was kind of like the baby, so I was a little bit pampered, I think, which has made me as a grown-up because you would think that would make someone kind of spoiled and self-important. And I'm not. Well, I am self-important, but that's because I am important. That's irony, just in case anybody was wondering. Or was it? And I think I'm doing an okay job because my kids respect me and I respect them. You know, I try to give them freedom. I try to encourage them to make their own decisions rather than ask me for stuff. I think I'm a good dad. Just as long as they don't fucking hang off any tall buildings, I think everything's gonna be alright.